tree.
Hey guys, Steve here, SAMTV, out here today with Gary and Rob, and I'm going to be on this crazy looking thing down here called the Poseidon Redwood. It's a gravel bike, pretty aggressive looking gravel bike, so we're going to hit the trails here and see how this thing does today. Hey guys, so let's talk about the Poseidon Redwood. This is not the typical mountain bike. This is actually a gravel bike. Company Poseidon put this model out called the Redwood. It is a 27.5 gravel bike. It comes with dropper bars, brakes, and transmission by a company called Advantex. It's a 10-speed transmission on the rear. It is an all-alloy aluminum frame, pretty solid, rigid fork, hard tail, really pretty solid bike. One thing I'd recommend is upgrading. You can fit up to 27.5 2.5 tires, and I definitely would recommend that if you could get those on there. Help a little bit with the cush and the pounding. Got a little footage here, kind of just a couple things I want to highlight. You know, we're going over some logs and stuff here, and this bike is definitely capable of doing that. I mean, went over some rocks, logs, hopped a couple little divots and things, and didn't really do much in the way of jumps. I will say, in all honesty, that this was a bit of a pounding for me, coming off a full suspension bike. The complete unfamiliarity with the geometry on this bike and the position that it puts you in when you're descending is really, really uncomfortable for me. On the other hand, climbing with this bike was an absolute pleasure. And I mean that. Like, who loves climbing? This bike was just a beast of a climber. It's only a 10 speed, didn't even notice it. Would have thought it was a 12 speed. It climbs so well. Number one, it's a light bike. It doesn't weigh much. Number two, it's a solid, it's a hardtail rear frame. So you're not losing any momentum or any effort or energy. It's all going straight into the wheel, straight into the ground. But the biggest concern for me was anytime I was descending, like here, anytime this bike started to point down, in a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a dropper bar. Number two, the positioning for these brakes where you rest your hands in these little like cups, I guess you call them, is really uncomfortable for me. I felt like I had way more pressure on my hands than I normally do. You're on a dropper bar to begin with. You've got a long stem on this bar, and also the brakes are not hydraulic, they're a mechanical brake. So they feel really, really different, and they felt to me a bit insufficient. There are 160 millimeter rotors on the front and rear, and there's a bike as light as this, I mean, it should be okay. But man, when I started picking up any kind of speed headed down a hill, it was really kind of scary. I can't really explain how uncomfortable it was. You just kind of would have to be on it. Now, by the end of the ride, I was getting a little more comfortable, was getting up a little bit more speed, a little braver. But I had my fair share of like really close calls to just crashing straight into a tree. This is maybe not the perfect trail for this bike either. It is a gravel bike, so maybe a little bit more of a cross-country, like open space. It's not a hard trail at all. This is definitely would be in the green category for sure. But it's very windy. And on a super, super short, chainstay and just overall length of this bike is super short, super steep, head angle, just made it a little bit uncomfortable for me. And then all these little divots and stuff I'm hitting are just pounding like right through your wrists up into your shoulders. So not a lot of love for the descents, but climbing like here, man, this thing climbed. I never looked so much forward to climbing as I did on this bike, because on climbing I felt great, really felt comfortable, was like, man, this thing just loves to climb. But on the descents, it just was not something that was super pleasant. As far as Poseidon goes, man, let me just tell you, this is a $900 bike, and for $900 to find a bike of this quality, there's just not a lot out there. And so I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Hey, to Poseidon, why not take the same exact bike and why not throw some straight bars on it? A little bit more of a traditional cockpit setup, a nice short stem on there, and maybe even, crazy thought, throw like, like a Sun Tour XCT fork on it. It's a $90 fork on this bike, and take the capability and the versatility up on this bike to another level. Don't want to take anything away from this bike. What it is, it's designed very well to do what it's intended to do, and it's a great value, I believe. $900 for this bike is crazy. This could be a great opportunity. So anyway, thanks guys so much for checking in today. Thanks for listening to me babble for a little while. And don't forget to click that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Tell your friends all about SAMTB. I'm going to be doing a ton of reviews coming up. I'm also headed out to Arizona in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be doing a couple reviews on a bike or two out there. And love to take you guys along for the ride. Click the bell so you know when I'm putting out some new content. Appreciate it. And really more than anything, guys, leave some comments. What do you think about this bike? Is this something you might consider buying? Would you? Wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? And overall, what do you think of the concept that that Poseidon's doing? They're coming out with these bikes really reasonably priced. Are you a fan of that? Do you think it's a great thing for the sport? Do you think it's taking away from the sport somehow? I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys, so much. I'll talk to you soon.